And why don't we take that opportunity to officially get started? Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Rosendahl here from Mindfire. Many of you are still coming into the room, but I want to appreciate all of you this morning for making time to be here to talk about LinkedIn. We're going to be looking at LinkedIn groups specifically, and a new way of creating leads and sales through opportunities that you can uncover in LinkedIn groups, okay? And as we do that, I also am going to highlight for you some of the mistakes that will kind of render you, I don't want to say dead in the water, but that are certainly going to make it a lot more difficult for you to succeed if you are inadvertently making those mistakes. That's what I want to cover. And from a roadmap perspective, here's what we're going to do. Good morning, everybody. If you just joined us, I can see the chat. It's going nuts right now. Thank you for that. Drop a hello in there if you just came in, because we are going to keep this interactive. The roadmap for today, here's what I want to cover with you. First, I want to do a little bit of introductions, introduce myself if this is the first time that we've had an opportunity to meet, and also kind of set the goal for you in terms of how I want you to think about what you're going to learn in this class, okay? So that's the first thing we're going to do. Then, because as I said a moment ago, we have like 7 pages here of hundreds of questions that came in from you. I want to do some LinkedIn basics. So if you're already a LinkedIn pro, there are going to be some new things in there that you want to pay attention to. If you're just starting out with LinkedIn, perfect. This is for you, and will help you understand how to kind of get started here, okay? So that's the second thing we're going to do. Then I want to go right into LinkedIn groups, and I'm going to use a very specific group that I think is relevant for many of you. If you're a marketing services company, if you're a print company, you could be a 2D print company, a 3D print company. If you manufacture PPE, a lot of you have pivoted to creating things like face shields, face masks, sanitizer. There's a whole slew of new things that have emerged. I want to show you a group where there's a lot of opportunity right now, and I want to kind of give you some insight, some training around how to maximize that opportunity. All right, so that's the third thing. And then I see the questions already coming in from Jim and others. I'm going to leave plenty of time for Q&A at the end. Okay, so my goal for you as we go through this is to cover all the basics. I want to answer all your questions. Okay, I don't want to leave any stone unturned. Specifically, I want to teach you how, the specific way to use LinkedIn groups, the how behind that, so that, and this is the outcome that I want for you, you can start to have meaningful conversations on LinkedIn that lead to opportunities. You might call them leads, you might call them opportunities, whatever you call them, that eventually turn into revenue. Okay, that's the goal of what we're doing here. Now, there's a very specific mindset that you need for LinkedIn that may be a little bit different than what you're accustomed to, but ultimately, that's what I want to help you deliver. So the goal is to give you tangible next steps that you can put in place right now. And I want to do that in a way that delivers you just total value. Okay, that's my goal, is to give you as much as I can of myself and of all the wonderful people here at Mindfire to deliver value to you. So here's what I want to know from you right now. When I sent out this invite, which we just created yesterday, and have close to 300 people here, I said that we would be here for an hour, so I want to respect everybody's time. Can you put in the chat, how much time do you actually have right now? How much white space do you have? I'll try to get this material into the time that kind of the majority has. And then if you have to leave, not a problem. We are recording this. Let me just verify. Yep, we are recording this. And so you will get the recording, okay? So 75 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour. I've got open time, as much time as needed. 45 minutes, 1.5 hours, 90 minutes, an hour, Dave, as much as needed. Okay, so it seems like we're somewhere between an hour to an hour and a half. That's where I'm going to try to bring us in at. And I will try to give all of the core stuff in the first hour, okay? So that for those of you, let's make this an all-day thing. Randy, I appreciate that. I know that we could certainly do that. We could probably make this an all-week thing, but I'm going to try to do it in about an hour, hour and a half, okay? And then if you have to leave, no problem. Just say goodbye on the way out, and we'll get you the recording, all right? So what is this all about ultimately? What can this do for you? What can LinkedIn do for you? I think, you know, if I'm in your shoes, and I were to tell you, look, LinkedIn has made us millions. LinkedIn has created thousands of leads for us here at Mindfire. We're seeing our customers do that. You'd probably say, okay, that's cool, but what does that mean for me? So let me show you just one example here, and there are going to be others that I show you today. This is from the LinkedIn group that I'm going to be training you how to use today, okay? If you look here, this is from Christy D. Actually, the way this came up was I had posted in that group about today's training session, the one that you're on right now. And there was some good discussion. One of the folks that interacted there, his name is Thomas, as you can see here. And I think what he was saying is, look, LinkedIn groups were 2015. Maybe that's kind of not so much the thing anymore, which I respectfully disagree with. But it's good to hear all sides of the picture here. So this was his comment. And then if you look down here, Christy D. Christy, are you here with us today by any chance? If you are, please go say hello. Christy says, nice reference to Monty Python. I respectfully disagree. So she said similar to what I just said a second ago. I think Dave is onto something. Cool. I have personally benefited by this group at least 3 times this week, and it's only Thursday, okay? Now, I asked her to send me more details on that so I could share them with you, but this is not the only story like this, okay? There are many, many, many stories. A couple of things that I want to adjust in her wording. This is not my group. This is not Mindfire's group. We created this for you, and I'm going to show you, tell you a little bit more about the backstory here in just a minute. But this is not my group. This is not the Mindfire group. This is about helping you on the demand and supply side get matched up with the folks that need your help or the folks that you can help, okay? But as she's pointing out here, this is something that you can all benefit from. You just need to know how to do it. And that's what I want to show you today. Okay, so Rajnish is saying, can we go all day would be close to 10 p.m. in India. So yeah, we're not going to go all day. Can we get a copy of this webinar? Yes, this is being recorded and we're going to provide this to you, all right? So when we did the registration here, as I have held this up a few times here, there were a lot of questions that came in. So I like to kind of show that in a word cloud format. And because we've had so many of you sign up, it's a little hard to kind of see what the main themes are. So you kind of have to zoom in a little bit on that word cloud. And here's kind of what came out of here. People are looking for, you're looking for, obviously, one of the main things that you can see is LinkedIn, because that's the topic of today. But people are looking to create clients. They want to create leads. They want to do this effectively. They want to know the best ways that people are already using LinkedIn to do this, to generate new business, to grow sales, to penetrate new markets. And you want to know how to start. How do I do this? How do I get started if I've never done this without spending an arm and a leg, without having to spend all day on LinkedIn, which you certainly could, but you don't need to. And how do I do all of this to generate activity that's meaningful for me and for my business? Okay, so that's what I'm going to try to do today. I'm going to try to touch on as many of those as possible and then leave time at the end to answer all your questions. So real quickly, who am I? But more importantly, I want to know, where are you from and who are you? So go over to the chat. I'm going to introduce myself as you do this. I want to know a couple of things. Where are you dialing in from if you haven't told me yet? And second, how did you hear about today's training session? If you already told me where you're from, how did you hear about this? I want to know that. This is a little bit about me, and then we're going to jump right into the material. Okay, so if we've never met, I'm the co-founder and president of Mindfire. We are a software company. And we have had the fortunate opportunity to work with thousands of printers, so commercial printers, folks that are involved in the production of print, both on the 2D side as well as now more and more 3D. And we've worked with agencies and thousands of B2B and B2C organizations, all in the spirit of helping them do one thing. Use the marketing technology that's relevant to today, the latest marketing technology, to help them grow awareness for their business to generate leads and sales. So that's the foundation. That's the platform from which I speak to you from. And we've been able to do that because we're at the intersection of a bunch of different industries. Everything I'm sharing with you today, all of the insights, comes from the years of experience that we have here at Mindfire. Specifically, we're talking about LinkedIn today, but it's from a variety of different types of companies, all sorts of industries, different company sizes. LinkedIn can work for you regardless of where you are in that spectrum, okay? So I received an email, my coworker forwarded it to me. I came from LinkedIn, awesome. Yeah, I wanna know, folks, keep telling me, where did you hear about today's training? That's always very, very useful. Email, okay, perfect. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Jim, Jen, Ray. Michael saying from a coworker, perfect, very cool. Okay, so if you are at your computer, here's what I want you to do. If you prefer to write stuff on with pen and paper, get that ready. If you like to take notes electronically, get that ready because we're going to jump right in now and set some foundational terms, foundational things that you need, and start to get into the meat of this training, okay? So I need a volunteer. You probably didn't think you were signing up to do work this morning here when you came to the training, but I need a volunteer. I need somebody who can jot down action items because I sense that what's going to happen as we start to converse here is you're going to be asking me for things. I may mention something that I didn't think of as I put this information together that you're all going to want a copy of, resources, things like that. And I need somebody to write those things down for me. So can I get somebody to volunteer? Go over there to the chat and say, yes, Dave, I can volunteer. Alan is saying I'm a two-finger typer, so I'm not your man. Yeah, I need somebody quick or somebody who can write beautifully, some good notes. And then I want you to email those to me at the email there on the screen when we're done here so I can follow up with everybody. Do I have a volunteer? Come on, I need somebody to, oh, Kushal is raising his hand. Okay, Kushal, if you can do that for me, that would be wonderful. Jessica saying she can do it. Joanna saying, as long as you can handle CAD spelling, I'll do it. Canadian spelling? Sure. Let me pick Joanne. Could you do that for me? Jim Rosenthal is saying, ask Jim to help. Joanne, if you can do it, please, that would be awesome. You have my email. We're good friends. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, so let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn here. So the opportunity here with LinkedIn that you have, that all of you have, is tremendous. I cannot overstate how big of an opportunity you have. Even before COVID, this has really nothing to do with COVID yet. Before this crisis hit, LinkedIn has been on fire. And when I say that, let me illustrate it with a picture here. The ability that you have as a business owner, as a salesperson, as a marketer, as an executive, as somebody who's trying to make their message heard and engage with their target audience, the opportunity that you have with LinkedIn is unparalleled right now because of the huge organic reach that it has. Let me tell you what I mean in English. Basically, if you can imagine this is you, let's just imagine you're this young lady here, okay? LinkedIn gives you the ability to speak to an audience that's, in some cases, tens of thousands of people, the number of people that fit into a stadium for free. It's like you're this young lady here and you're able to communicate a message to your target audience, to stadium-size audiences for free. That's what I mean by organic reach. The fact that you can post, the fact that you can engage with your audience and get in front of them for free is unparalleled on LinkedIn right now. Now, if you think that, as an example, well, Dave, that's true for you because you have tens of thousands of followers and, you know, Mindfire's got a name that everybody knows. That may be true, but also remember, I started in the same place that some of you are in, okay? I have an example here from one of my teammates, actually. This is Mackenzie. She runs demand generation for us here at Mindfire. Fantastic resource if you don't know Mackenzie. If you do, I'm sure you know exactly what I mean. But here's a post that she did, okay? And the reason I'm showing this to you is because I want you to know that you can do this, okay? And I'm not just blowing smoke and trying to pump you up in a way that's not realistic. Here's what I mean. Look at the screen. Mackenzie wrote this post. She has 891 followers, okay? I don't know how that compares to you. Maybe you have 100, maybe you have 1,000. Some of you might have 10,000, 20,000. Some of you may even have more. The point I'm trying to make is with a relatively small number of followers, all of you can do that. If you're thinking, I can't get 800, 900, that's not true. You can. I'll show you how. But with a relatively small number, look at this here. 85,306 views. Those are people, eyeballs, that have seen that content for free, okay? That is a tremendous number. With a very small audience, LinkedIn is giving her a reach that's in the hands of all of you here as well, that is just mind-blowing. That's the opportunity that you have with LinkedIn, okay? Now, there's a resource here. Joanne, if you're taking notes, let's see if people want this. We have a case study about Brian. You may have heard of him, Brian Galad. He has kind of been an example, if you will, of someone like you who was able to go from a very small number of followers to over 100,000. Actually, I think now he's at 140,000, so the case study probably needs to be updated. But he did it in 5 months. Ordinary person, ordinary guy, ordinary girls are doing this day in and day out, and we have a case study that shows you how he did it. Does anybody want that? If you do, go say case study in the chat, and then Joanne, we'll if you can make a note, I'll give everybody that link. Actually, I may be able to do that right now. No, you know what? I'll hold on to that. Yep, I'll give that to you in a bit. So case study, okay, cool. People want that case study. I think it would be useful to many of you. So the first thing you need to do as you look at getting started here with LinkedIn is you need to get your house in order, men and women. You need to begin to put some basics in place, and that all starts with your profile. Let me show you what I mean. So if you're taking notes, this is a new section here. Let's talk about your profile. So on LinkedIn, and I'm going to jump into LinkedIn Live here in just a moment, okay? On LinkedIn, you all have a personal homepage, if you will, a personal profile that's specific to you. I'm sure you know that. There are some really, really important things that you need to do in your profile. This isn't something you should just throw up with 30 minutes or an hour worth of thought. You should put some time and energy into it. And I'm going to tell you specifically some of the areas that you need to pay attention to. So your profile has things like an opportunity for you to put a banner in, an image here. It has a slot here where you can describe what it is that you do. It has an about section. There's a number of sections here in the profile. We actually have a resource. This is another resource if you want this. Drop checklist into the chat. I'll get this to you as well. There's a document here that's about 5 pages long that includes this checklist that is the exact set of steps that we recommend that you take in order to optimize your profile for leads and sales. So if you're looking for a job, this is probably not the advice for you. But if you want to grow your business, if you want to market and sell, then this is what you should do. Now, I take that back though. If you are looking for a job, because there are a lot of you that are looking for a job, there is some very valuable stuff here. So scratch that, consider it as well, okay? Let me tell you what you need to do. These are the things that I would highly recommend you do. Number one, many of you, and I know this because I checked many of you out before the session today, many of you do not have a cover photo here. You use the generic LinkedIn cover photo. So if that's you, that's the first thing that you should do. You should change that cover photo to something that represents your brand, if you're a business owner, or if you work for a company that you're proud of, something that provides a benefit to the viewer that's beyond just the generic LinkedIn cover photo, okay? Many of you have left it at just the LinkedIn cover thing. It's like a blue kind of lined illustration. Change that, use something specific to you and what you do. The headshot, this picture right here, there are some of you that have great headshots, and there are some of you that, I don't know what you're thinking, to be honest. You need something that's somewhat respectable, usually from here to somewhere around here, okay, looking directly at the camera. And there's some data that actually shows you how important that profile picture is. It's in this checklist, which we can send to you. It's something like you'll get 30% more, and don't quote me on this, I have the exact data in the checklist here, but 30% more replies and engagement just by having the right profile picture, okay? So don't gloss over that. It's really, really important. The other thing that you need to do is the headline here. This is what LinkedIn calls a headline. Can you see that right here? A lot of us, without knowing the right way to approach this, will use that section to simply put our title, okay? Now, I used to do that too. The title is something that is like a pat on our own back, right? It makes us feel good. President, executive vice president, whatever it is, sales director, whatever you happen to be. But the problem with that is that if you're thinking about this from the point of view of the audience that you want to engage, is it does very little to tell them what you can do for them. Does that make sense? So if I'm the president of Mindfire, who cares? Do you really care about that? What you care about is what can my organization, what can I do for you? And similarly, the same is true for your customers. So there's a little template here that we recommend, something like helping blank, the target audience that you want to engage, achieve some outcome by some unique thing that you do. Does that make sense? Give me a yes in the chat if you're understanding what I'm talking about here. Give me a yes if you're understanding the fact that this headline should be used to convey what you can do for your target audience. Now, I'm going to show you why this is so important, but every time you drop a comment, we'll do this live here in a second. Every time you drop a comment on someone else's posts or you engage with something, LinkedIn is actually displaying that. So you're missing an opportunity every time you leave a comment to have the potential, the reader, your potential audience, know what it is you can do for them, okay? So this may seem small, men and women, but take the opportunity to jot this down or get the checklist after this and update that, okay? It will make a difference. A lot of you here also in the contact information, there's a little, can you see this right here, a little link that says contact info. Many of you don't have anything in there. So if somebody actually wants to buy from you, God forbid they actually want to try to reach you, you're not making it easy for them to do that. At the least, put your company website. If you have a personal blog or something that's related to what you can do for them, put a link there. Put your phone number, put an address, put your email, and put your birthday. The reason why I suggest putting your birthday is LinkedIn will actually communicate that out to everybody. You don't have to put the year, okay? Just the day. But it's free PR. It's free publicity that LinkedIn will send out to your network every year on that day. So at the very least, this is what you should configure, okay? Does that make sense? I want to make sure that you all understand that. Let me know if you have any questions. Here is a mistake that I want to show you. I'm going to come back and show you that in a second, okay? Hold on that for a moment. A lot of you have an about section, that's this portion right here, where you talk about yourself. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk about yourself. You should to a degree. But again, somebody who's reading this isn't looking to understand all of the incredible accolades that you've accumulated that are self-serving and that make you feel good, okay? There's a time and a place for that. But what we recommend here is, again, write this from the perspective of who's looking at it, and more specifically from the perspective of the people that you want to engage, okay? So use that opportunity to talk about yourself, talk about your organization in terms of what you can do for them, the kinds of outcomes that you can achieve for that person. And again, I'm going to tell you why this is so important as you get into groups in a second here, okay? But this is foundational stuff. You got to get your profile right before you can move to these other things and maximize them effectively, all right? Also, put your email and your phone number. Not everybody knows to click this contact info here, but a lot of people will check out your about. And if you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if you own a company, or if you want your sales team to actually be getting calls and emails from people who want your services, put your freaking email in there, okay? It doesn't take anything, it's not difficult to do. Just put the email in there. Put your phone number in, however you want them to communicate with you, okay? Put that in your about section. Now, a couple more things, and then I'm going to move on here and actually show you something that I want to make sure you do not do. There are recommendations that you can ask for in LinkedIn, okay? Some of you already have this. It's basically a way of adding social proof by asking your customers to write something nice about you. If you feel odd or awkward doing that, you need to get past that, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of people who, as you start to engage in LinkedIn, specifically in groups, are going to be looking at you. And they want to know, is this someone that I can like? Is this someone I feel like I can engage with? And is this someone I can trust? And that social proof from a third party goes a long way in helping them know that, yes, Anne is somebody that I can trust, okay? Anne is saying, for business purposes, why would prospects want to know my birth date? So, Anne, let me talk about that from two perspectives. Number one is it's the free publicity, okay? So LinkedIn is going to notify all of them, and it's just another way to bump you up to top of mind for that person. Oh, actually, I have been meaning to reach out to Anne. You would be surprised how that works, okay? So from a business perspective, it's free PR. They're notifying everybody. They'll send an email on your behalf, and it will get you attention, okay? The other reason to do this is, and it may sound strange, but I forget the stats. Some of you know this, like if you're in a room, how many people it takes to have somebody else with the same birthday. What I found is that there are many clients and prospects who actually share the same birthday. And it's another opportunity to engage at a level that you just wouldn't otherwise imagine, okay? I'm sure there are other benefits, but those are the two that come to mind. The fact that LinkedIn does it for free and gets you top of mind with everybody. And second, you'd be surprised how many people have the same birthday and gives you something else to bond over. Terry is saying, Dave, will you email a PDF of this checklist? Yes, we absolutely will. All right, let me go into LinkedIn and show you something now. So folks, I give you permission, go open up LinkedIn, okay? I'll give you a moment. Once you have LinkedIn loaded up, say yes, okay, so that I know you're actually in LinkedIn. I'll give you a moment. What you're seeing is my page. I'm gonna pick somebody here. Let's see, Dana Jenkins, I think, just flew by on the screen. I don't know if I've got the right Dana here. Let us see. This may or may not be you, Dana. I apologize if this is not you. This is a good example. I just picked you randomly, Dana. So here's a very good example of Dana. I would highly recommend changing this image here, right? And get a headshot in there, okay? That will go a long way in distinguishing you from the others. All right, so that's a good example of what I was talking about. Also here, Dana does have a recommendation here, which is good. So this is what I was talking about in terms of recommendation. Let me get one other person. I'm looking for something very specific right now that I want to show you. I'm going to look at Andy Vaca real quick. Let's see, Andy, I know you and I are connected. Let me see. Yes, here we go. Andy, all right. I knew I would get it after a few tries. Okay, David's on LinkedIn, Penny's on LinkedIn. Okay, cool. Andy is saying, what are you saying here? I don't own the company. Do I want to set up a second LinkedIn profile, one for myself and one for the company I work for? Andy, I don't think so, but let's get back to that in a second, okay? Let me answer that in a moment. So a couple things that Andy's got going on here for him, which is good. He's got an image here, which is better than the LinkedIn default image. And he's got a picture of him here, Andy. Again, this is just a recommendation, take it or leave it, but I would suggest that you get a closer picture, good looking guy. Zoom in a little bit on your head. I do like that you have this, which kind of gives me a sense for what it is that you do, but I would recommend get a little bit closer in here and then use this imagery up here in your in this part of the photo here, okay? Just a suggestion, but here's what I really want to show you. Are you looking at the screen, Andy and everybody else? Look at the screen. Over here on the right, see where it says people also viewed? This is one of those 2.5 mistakes that almost everybody makes. What's happening here, Andy, without you knowing it, is that you're inadvertently leaking traffic, and likely you're leaking traffic to competitors, okay? I don't know all of the people here. I don't know if any of these are competitors to you. But what LinkedIn is doing is it's using its algorithm and saying, I think I know who Andy is. I think I know who looks at Andy. And I'm going to show those people who are looking at Andy, others that are like him, to continue to drive page views, okay? So what's happening is you've done a good job in the LinkedIn group, let's say. Somebody comes and looks at your profile here. And then they're like, you know what? Here's the CEO of a company that actually does the same thing that Andy does, or the same thing that Dave at Mindfire does. And let me go talk to that guy instead. And all they have to do is click on that and they're off of you and onto somebody else. You should turn this off, men and women. That's one of the mistakes that I want to recommend that you all address ASAP. Does that make sense? Give me a yes in the chat if that makes sense. Drop yes if you're understanding what I'm talking about. Turn off this people also viewed. I'll give you the instructions there in the checklist. But you want to turn that off because you're essentially sending people to your competitors. And there's absolutely no reason to be doing that unless you can think of something that I'm not considering here. There's absolutely no reason to be doing that unless you happen to want to build up the business of your competitor. So turn that off so that you're not leaking opportunities over to your competitors, okay? So this is the checklist. Joanne, I think you made a note. We're going to send this out to everybody. There's 4 or 5 pages that goes along with this that gives you step-by-step information that you need to know in order to optimize your LinkedIn profile, okay? So I don't have time to go into all of that. I hope that has been helpful for you. At least do those things that I just recommended. And now let's turn our attention to LinkedIn groups, okay? So let me first kind of, Jason, do you have a question? I see you just raised your hand. Brian is saying amazing stuff there. Makes sense. Please tell me how. And Andy is saying, duh. I think you're saying duh about sending to your competitors. Yeah, I know. It's amazing, right? Yeah, a lot of people aren't thinking about it, but this is going to help put you ahead of your competitors, Andy and everybody else that's here, okay? So Jason is saying, can you address what Andy said about business versus personal pages? Yeah, Jason, let me hold that. I will do that during Q&A, okay? Good question. So if you look at the screen now, men and women, yep, you're welcome, Jason. If you look at the screen, this is the LinkedIn group that we're going to use for today's training, okay? You don't have to use this group. This just happens to be an example because it is something that I'm watching very carefully right now. If you're in this LinkedIn group already, then you know kind of the backstory here, but let me just tell you briefly why this group exists. About 3 weeks ago, when the COVID crisis started to really escalate, because of all of the work that we do with thousands of companies around the world, and because we try to lead by being out in front of our audience, I started to get texts, emails, phone calls, Skype messages, you name it, from people who either needed something or had something that they felt was relevant for the current crisis, okay? And I was trying to make connections manually. Who do I know that actually has a print shop that's open in Florida right now that I can connect this person with? Who needs that substrate that so-and-so is now trying to get off their balance sheet because they're shut down? Who would want to buy that? Making all sorts of connections like that. Again, not profiting for Mindfire. The goal was just to simply connect people to help during this time. At some point, my phone was blowing up, too many emails were backed up, couldn't handle it. And I said, okay, there's got to be a better way. And one night just decided to go to LinkedIn, create a group. I couldn't come up with anything more creative than COVID-19 print group, created it, and that's how it started. What happened over the next couple of hours is that people started to come into that group. I invited a few, and then it started to snowball. First 10, then 20, then 50, then 100, 500, 1,000. Now we're getting somewhere around a few hundred per day, okay? So many of you I have invited into the group. Others of you have invited people to the group. And what's happening now is that this is a place where supply and demand are being matched up, okay? But I'm watching many of you, and I applaud you for being here so you can fix that, but I'm seeing many of you miss opportunities to engage in this group in a way that's actually going to drive business for you. It might not drive business right now. In some cases, it definitely is. But you should also be thinking about how to build relationships so that when companies start to come out of this situation that we're in right now, that you can be top of mind. Maybe your birthday happens to coincide with when we're coming out of this, and bing, they get a little notification that it's your birthday, and they think, you know what, I remember a great post that so-and-so did in that group. I want to reach out to them, see how they can help me grow my business, okay? So what I'm seeing, I'm going to share a couple success stories that I'm going to show you how to do the same thing here. The other night, I was, this was probably 2 nights ago, I was on Reddit, actually. And if you're not on Reddit, this is topic of a different training session. But there is a group there in Reddit for commercial printers. It's actually about the same size as the group here on LinkedIn. And I noticed that someone posted something that they needed help with, okay? I took that post and I replied to that person and said, hey, we've got a great group on LinkedIn. I think somebody there can help you. I'm going to take your need and I'm going to post it in the LinkedIn group, okay? Are you following so far? So I took what I saw on Reddit, I posted it on LinkedIn, and that person was so thankful. He said, this is great. Thank you so much. What's your phone number? Let me call you. He needed something. He needed a printer right then and there, okay? So he ended up texting me. You can see this is, yeah, it was 4:20. So what is today? 4:23? I forget what today is. 9:15. So I texted him. He said, hi, Dave. I told him, hey, I posted in LinkedIn for you. He said, thanks. I'll check out the group. He said, I'm finding that printers are either closed or not returning calls. Men and women, right now is not the time to not be returning phone calls, okay? If your staff is doing this or if you're doing this yourself, I would urge you to reconsider. Even if you're closed, take that voice message and at least get back to the person. But anyhow, he was trying to find a printer, was not having success, okay? He said, we need some help scaling a project. This was somebody who happened to go viral with a really cool printing project. They were featured on the news, and capacity that they had to deliver their product was completely overwhelmed. He needed somebody right away. This is at 9:15 at night. He's saying, hey, can I call you? He thought that, I think at that point that maybe I could help him with the print. And I happened to be putting my kids down to bed, so I wasn't able to actually chat with him on the phone, but we continue to have a dialogue. My point is that a few moments after I posted that on the LinkedIn group, Ira, who you can see here, Ira actually said, hey, I can help. Let me connect with Michael. So I simply introduced the two of them, and I said, you guys have at it, okay? The next day, Ira sent me this note. Hey, I sent him a connection request with a message explaining that you had recommended I reach out to him. He accepted my request. We've exchanged a few DMs, that means direct messages, confirming the need. Then we set a phone appointment to discuss the job in detail, with the conversation looking promising. We scheduled and met later in the afternoon at one of our production facilities, where I gave him a tour, introduced him to some of our production team, and we locked in what he needs done. After he left, we started estimating the project, and now we're in price negotiations to meet at a win-win price per unit. I hope it helps. That's what I'm talking about, okay? Is this happening to you on LinkedIn? Give me a yes if it is. Give me a no if it's not, okay? Well, I take a drink of water here. I wanna know if you're getting this kind of engagement on LinkedIn like Ira. I'm saying nope, 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 no, yes, no, not yet, no, 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 but I want to. No, I would love to. No, 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 my fault though. No, our fault though. Sometimes, nope, never pursued this. Okay, so by and large, somebody said sometimes, somebody says I wish. So men and women, I'm not blowing smoke here. I'm not just picking one or two cherry-picked examples. I have many examples like this. There are many who are experiencing this. Let me show you one more here. I think I've got one other one here. This is from Joris, my friend Joris. Hopefully, Joris, are you here? It'd be cool if you're here. He said, David, thanks for adding us to the group. We're doing okay, but the work volume has changed drastically. So far, we're open full time using social distancing. There's only a few corona cases in our county. We're monitoring day to day, and we'll react when needed. Kind regards. So that was a few days before this subsequent message came in. Hi, David. Look down here. Wanted to let you know we got our first job through the printing group. Now, again, he calls it your printing group. It's not mine. It's not Mindfire's. This is for you. We're doing this for you, okay? So we got our first job through the printing group. It's for a client from the New York area. Our volume is down as many of our clients are colleges and universities, and no visit days or events are happening. We've lost about 50% of our work, but I'm sure it'll pick back up in the future. But that's what I'm talking about. He's got a job through this group. So whether it be conversations that later turn into opportunities, or conversations that turn into opportunities now because there are many, many needs right now, that's what can happen in the LinkedIn group, okay? Joanne is saying, I'm surprised that people aren't taking advantage of offers to help. Kevin is saying, it's my fault for not using this resource to its capability. Angie is saying, will this work in Canada? Angie, this works anywhere that there's somebody who has a need and somebody who can fulfill that need across borders, even between countries. There's examples of that in the group. So yes. Jay is saying, I've made one engagement, but has not come to a sale. Jay, that's the other thing that I want to encourage all of you on. It may not happen the first time. It may not happen the second time. It may not even happen the third, but you're always just one connection away, one engagement away from potentially your next opportunity, okay? So Jay and everybody else who's feeling the same thing as you, don't give up. That would be the biggest mistake, because people are succeeding. You just need to stick with it, okay? So those are two examples. Now, if you are here and have actually had something positive happen to you through the group, would you please take a moment, go over to the chat, and let me know. I want to read off your stories to the others to give them encouragement. And as I do that, go over there. I want you to let me know, first of all, if you've had something positive happen to you there in the group, okay? Let me read that for a second before we move on. Heather is saying, I had a person contact me from the group for a quote. That's great, Heather. Did that end up turning into a deal? Is my first question. Second, Heather, are you continuing to nurture that relationship with that person? Because you'll need to, or you should. Looks like it didn't turn into a sale yet. That's okay. But Heather, are you nurturing? You also say no with a sad face. Heather, that's the other thing. Continue to nurture. And back to the question around why should you do seemingly silly things like put a birthday? Heather, even at the least, Let's say your birthday pops up and that person remembers, Heather was really kind to me. Heather helped me out in a time of need. You never know where that will end up. Joanne is saying, I've made some great connections, and yes, I'm staying engaged. Yeah, Joanne, you do a good job. Very good job at that. Joanne is also one who provides a lot of value in the group, Joanne Gore. So if you see her around, make sure to connect with her. Okay, I want to see if there's any other success stories here from this group. I want to share those on the air here and get people to understand the potential here. So what I want you to do now, if you haven't already, is open LinkedIn, and we're going to get right into this group, and I'm going to dive into some very specific details here, okay? So when you have LinkedIn open, go to the chat and say ready, okay? I want to see the majority of you saying ready. Okay, cool. Looks like it's coming in. Perfect. So here's what I want to show you. I'm going to start with, get my notes up here. First thing is, I want to make sure that you and I are connected, okay? So I am going to take a URL, and let's see if I can do this to all panelists and attendees. Okay, so did you all get that link? Go over to the chat, go check the chat. I just pasted in the link to my profile. The first thing I want you to do, okay, good, you got it. I'll put it in a few times since I'm sure it's gonna move up there in the chat. But what I want you to do is the first thing, if we're not yet connected, I wanna make sure that you connect with me. Now, the reason why this is important is because I wanna train you in a skill that may seem a little awkward at first. You may not be like me. I'm the kind of guy that loves to talk to people everywhere, okay? I run into somebody and I just wanna know more about them. On a plane, in the bathroom, out as I'm taking a walk, doesn't matter. I talk to people. And you need to do the same thing on LinkedIn, okay? You don't want to be pushy. You don't need to be salesy. You don't need to come across desperate, but you should connect with people. And so connect with me. If you don't know how, go over there in the chat and let me know. It looks like some people are already connected with me, but you need to connect with people, okay? There's a whole other training on the proper way to connect. We'll do that some other time if you're interested. But at the very least for right now, make sure that we're connected, okay? Cool. Looks like people are saying there's no connect button available. Lisa, you have to click more and you'll see it. If you scroll down, you'll see another button that says connect, okay? So go ahead, find me, connect with me if at all possible. Let's do that. Now, the second thing that I want you to do, and I'm going to open up LinkedIn here shortly. You need to access this group, okay? Because the training I want to give you right now is right in the group. So the best way to do that, there's two ways to do that. One is just to search for COVID-19 print group, or click that link. I just gave you another link. Go over there and request access, okay? What I'm going to show you, I'm going to jump into LinkedIn. I'm going to show you how to connect with people in that group, the first group of people you need to connect with. And then the most important thing is how to read and engage with posts to drive the results that you need, and how you should post and engage with comments to get the results that you need, okay? So the two things there that are really important is who to connect with when you get in the group, how to read other people's posts and engage with them if there's something you can do to help, and third, how to post what you can do so that other people actually engage with you, okay? So I'm gonna open up LinkedIn here. Let's see. I'm already in, I'm already a member, I've requested, I see others from my corp are already part of the group, says Carly. Cool. So let me show you what I'm seeing here on my side. Can everybody see my screen now? You should be able to, yeah, it looks like you can see my screen. I'm still over here on Andy. All right, so I'm gonna go over here. This is the back end, if you will, of what I see. I'm gonna go to the print group here. So you all should have requested, looks like there's a couple people, there's a backup here of folks that have requested to join. So let me tell you from a practitioner's point of view, from the point of view of somebody who knows how to use LinkedIn, certainly I can always learn more, as all of us can, but this is driving value for our customers, it's driving value for us. Everything I tell you is from firsthand experience, okay? I'm not gonna pontificate on something that I don't know firsthand works, okay? I want you to watch how I'm using LinkedIn here. A couple of things I want you to know. These 33 people who have requested access to the group, let's see if it's going up at all, see if you guys are still asking. Yeah, now it's 38, okay? You'll notice that, as I mentioned to you, some of them don't have, Ray, as an example, doesn't have a picture here, okay? And you can see how many do, maybe 70, 80% of you do, but not everybody does, okay? And he doesn't have a title. Shaheen doesn't have a title here or what he can do to help. You'll also notice that some of the titles that are here, warehouse manager at Vinyl Ease, Penny, you know, I'm sure, you know, you do a fantastic job at helping your clients achieve something, right? My simple suggestion to you, Penny, and to others like you would be, again, to rephrase that. In the checklist, we give you a little template for that. Rephrase that to tell me, if I'm looking at your profile here, what can you do to help me? Maybe, since I'm one of the group managers here, maybe if I know what you do, then that'll help me connect you with somebody. Even just that simple light bulb for me would maybe help me drive more business to you. Does that make sense? So that's a couple things that I'm noticing here as a practitioner. The second thing is that I am noticing that I'm not connected with some of you. So for example, Dimitri here. Dimitri, are you here watching the screen? Or Pablo is also here, right? One of the things I recommend you do when you're in a group of people or in a group like this, where there are other people that you want to be connected with or other people that you potentially could do business with, hover over their name. I'll give you a second to do that if you're somewhere in LinkedIn, or look at the screen, hover over their name and then click connect, okay? Now what this is doing is this sending an invitation to Pablo so that we can connect, all right? So often what I will do is I will scan through lists like this one here and find opportunities to engage with people that I think are potentially good connections for me to have, okay? So just like here, Paul, CEO at the Artistic Group, okay? So that's Kyle. Hey, Kyle, it's good to see you here, man. There's a lot of opportunity here for me to engage with all these people. I'm not going to take the time to do it with everybody, but I just want to show you one little pro tip is to always take the opportunity to connect with people where there's a mutual fit where you think you might be able to serve them. For example, Kyle, let me go back down to you. Whoops, misspelled your name. So Kyle, you're the vice president at Venbrook, right? That's what it says here. I know that you provide probably the best customer service of anyone I've ever worked with. And you know that's true. You might be blushing right now, but you know that's true. But if I'm reading this, Kyle, and this is just a friendly tip, you can choose to ignore it if you wish. What is it that you can do for me as a business owner? What is it that you can do for the others in this group as a business owner? If I want to read this and know that Kyle can help me, that's where you should take the opportunity to change that title so that I know exactly what you do. Kyle is saying I'm totally blushing. Kyle, it's true. You are incredible, man. Testament to Kyle. I think, Kyle, you've probably worked at 2 or 3 companies over the past 10, 15 years that we've known you, right? Every single time you move from one company to the next, as you've worked your way up in your career, we have come with you because of you. And that's a great testimonial to the value that you provide to your clients. So this is why I say, for those of you who are reading this, you wouldn't know that about Kyle just by looking at this here. But if he takes the opportunity to change that title, if you do that, men and women, people will start to notice what you can do for them. Kyle, why don't you go ahead and give me a little description of what you can do? I'll read that off to everybody, okay? Put it in terms of the business owners here. And the others. So Kyle, go ahead and do that and I'll read it off to everybody. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select everybody. I'm going to let all of you in who are waiting as Kyle does that. And so if you, oh, maybe my team already did all of you. Let's see. Okay. Yep. Looks like most of them are already in. There's another group of 7 here that just came in. I'm going to approve all of you. So for those of you who are on the call right now on the training, if you requested access, you should be in. Okay. Kyle, go ahead and let me know. I'll read that back to everybody. So now those of you who wanted to gain access that haven't yet gained access are now in, okay? So I want to show you a few things here. Let us go to, well, you know what? Let me start at the top here. The first group of people that I suggest you connect with, look over here. These are the administrators, okay? What I really suggest you do, again, is get past your hesitancy to connect with people, okay? And the easiest group of people to connect with, the friendliest group of people to connect with are the administrators of this group. The owner happens to be me. So most of you have already connected with me. But these others here are also great resources for you to connect with. So when you enter the group for the first time, and if you're there now and this is your first time in the group, I would suggest that you connect with all of these people here, okay? And it's very simple to do that. Hover over their name, click on their name, and go click that connect button, okay? Let's see, Carly is saying David is in Austin. Yep, he is. How did you know that? Does it say that? That is absolutely the case. So that's the first group of people that I think you should connect with. So what you're seeing here is the group, and you can see that we now have 3,338 members. This is growing by hundreds every day, okay? And what I would recommend you do is scroll down through this list and start to gain familiarity with what people are looking for. Let me show you a few that I saw from earlier today that I think might be useful to you. So many have come in already here. Let's see, it's coming up here. Yep, one more. Okay, so we had a question earlier around, does this work in Canada? Does it work in other countries? And as I mentioned to you, we have folks from all over the world here in this group. And so here's Franco saying, hey, we have an urgent requirement for our National Health Service. So again, men and women, remember the genesis behind this group was because there are needs and there are supplies. There are needs and wants, and then there's people who can help with that for whatever reason just aren't connecting. This group is designed to help you do that, okay? And he's got a very specific request here of something that he needs, okay? Some of you on this call, in fact, in this training may be able to help. This is an example of one of the many requests that are in this group, urgent needs where people need help, okay? So there are others, but I'm gonna show you specifically how to interact with this one here. Jen is saying, I still haven't been accepted to the group. Kyle is saying, okay, so let me tell you folks, Kyle, who I highlighted a second ago, what he does is he provides cost-saving solutions with respect to employee benefit programs, including alternate funding solutions. Okay, so if you need that, Kyle is your man. So Jen, it looks like you're in now. Okay, perfect. So let me show you a few things here. And again, if some of this is basic to you, forgive me. But if this is something new to you, pay attention, okay? Look at where I just clicked, this little icon here. When you click that, this shows you who has engaged with the post by clicking like a thumbs up or a heart or a light bulb little action. And this often will show you a list of people that you want to be in touch with, okay? Click on that, scan through the list, and connect with the people that you think are of interest to you, all right? So that's the first thing I would do. Always take a look at that if there's a post that's of interest to you. Second, go and read the comments. What I do when I get to the comments like this, I change this here to most recent, okay? Because what this does is it then sorts the comments in the order of what's come in recently, all right? So let's see, Jennifer, 22 seconds ago said, we do not have anti-fog available, but can supply 500 micron, 600 rolls. This product is US made, okay? One thing that might be helpful to some of you is don't just read a comment. Often it's very helpful just to hit the like under that comment. People will then see your name here if they happen to look. Again, this is about putting yourself out there, putting your name out there so people start seeing you more and more. Again, this is why it's important to have your title, your headline optimized, right? Because that's where it's going to show up right here. People are going to start to see that. Now, I may do something like Jennifer. Actually, let me clarify that because that's something that a lot of you don't know either. If you hit the @ sign, it'll bring up a list of people. Now, what you should do is you should tag, this is called tagging, that person, okay? So that they get notified that you're replying to their comment. This is another way of making sure they get notified. So tag them. Again, I'll do it real quick here for you. Hit the @ sign, click on Jennifer. I typically get rid of the last name and then I do something like this. Jennifer, thank you for replying so quickly. I hope it helps. And then I'll look for Franco. I hope it helps. Franco, so @ and then I do Franco. I start to type his name and there he is, Franco, right? Franco, let us know ASAP. I'll do something like that, okay? And now I've engaged with Jennifer in a way that's gonna provide her some value. I'm thanking her for her engagement and I'm engaging with Franco, okay? Now that's an example for me as the administrator here, but I want to encourage all of you to do the same, okay? When you see something, there's many of you who will simply leave a comment and say something like, let's say you could actually help here. I see a lot of you saying something like this. I can do that, is what you'll comment, okay? Couple things wrong with that. First of all, you want to make sure that Franco actually knows that you can help. So first lesson is tag him in your response, okay? So it'd be something like, and I can't help him, but I'm just going to pretend here. Franco, I can help you with that. I'll send you a direct message shortly, but if you happen to see this now, feel free to, and then you could say call me at, or email me at, or WhatsApp me, any of the channels that you think would be ideal for Franco, okay? Let me see what we've got going on here in the chat. Sorry, I need to leave the meeting. Yeah, it looks like we're about 4 minutes out. I understand that. As a compliment, Dave, I'm not attending my 1 p.m. meeting because you're great. Thank you, Alan. You're awesome. A lot of questions coming in here, folks. I do know I'm drawing into the hour. If you have to go, don't worry. Like I said, this is being recorded, but I want to do a bit more and then answer questions for you, okay? Now, let me grab my cell phone here. I want to show you something that I recommend you do. So can you see my cell phone? You should be able to see it. You should also have LinkedIn on your phone, okay? Can you drop phone if you have it on your phone? I just want to get an idea of how many of you also have LinkedIn on your phone. Okay, if you don't have it on your phone, go get it. Here's why. I'm going to go to my messages right up there, and I am going to write a new message to Joanne, and later I'll get the fancy technology hooked up where you can actually see me doing this on the screen. Joanne, I want to make sure there's nothing inappropriate that you've sent me here. Okay, it looks all good. So this is a conversation that I had started with Joanne as an example. Can you all see that? Now, what you have here that you don't have in the web-based interface is a very, very powerful tool. Right here, if you see this little microphone, you can actually send a voice message to the other person, okay? So back to the scenario of Franco. If you can help Franco, you need to stand out. Don't just say, I can help, and hit submit, okay? Do what I showed you a second ago, what you have right here, right? And also take the opportunity to, I'm just gonna show you, I'm gonna do this live here. Let's see, here we go. Hey, Joanne, it's so good to hear from you. I can definitely help you with your need. Let me know when would be good to speak, and we'll follow up soon. Thanks, Joanne, bye-bye. And then you hit send, okay? What it does is it sends through this little voice message. Now, she can hear that both on her phone as well as her computer. I don't know how loud it is, but let's see. I will see if I can play that again here for you. Okay, well, it's thinking. You get the idea, right? You can send a personalized voice message. Not a lot of people do this to the other person, which allows you to communicate with nonverbal, non-text communication in a way that is going to put you ahead of your competitors, okay? So take the opportunity to do that. Joanne says she just got it. You can send a video too so they can see you. Yes, that's absolutely true. Jim is saying it seems like I'd spend all day on LinkedIn not getting any work done. Jim, that is also true. But once you know how to do this, it won't take you that long, okay? If this is new to you, it might seem like you're drinking from a fire hose, but eventually, and forgive me for saying this, but one of the other reasons why I just asked you if you have it on your phone is you can do this kind of work during toilet time, okay? I think you all know what I mean. I hope you don't take offense to that. Toilet time is LinkedIn time for many of us, okay? Little secret from the pros. But you can do this during toilet time, doesn't take too long, and eventually as you start to grow up volume, the results will follow, and you'll see that it's a worthwhile investment of your time. All right, looks like I'm getting some laughs there at the toilet time. How long do you spend on the toilet? Alan, that's none of your business, man. All right. Okay, people are laughing at toilet time. All right, maybe no, I'm not saying you do your camera time during toilet time. Come on, guys and girls. All right, so that's a pro tip there I want to share with you. Now, let's look through, okay, everyone's laughing at toilet time here. Let's look through a few other posts here. I want to show you a few other things. Here's another example of something that I think you will want to learn. Here's a post from somebody who needs 3.5 million 2-ounce bottles that are made in America, okay? And again, you're thinking, hey, this is a print group. Why are there non-print related things in here? That's the other reason why I think you should look around, folks, because this group is starting to expand beyond just 2D, 3D print. All sorts of needs are coming into the group. Maybe we'll rebrand it at some point, but there's a lot of opportunities here. You may not directly be able to service this need, but you might know someone who does, okay? So what I would encourage you to do, again, I always move this to most recent, I would encourage you to start to tag people. You wanna add value, okay? You wanna add value to the conversation wherever you can, because even if you can't help with that thing, you may know someone who can. And when I say you need to tag somebody, let's say I'm picking on Joanne today, hopefully she's okay with that. I will come here and I'll say, Joanne, do you know anyone who can help with this? I realize it may be a long shot, but worth a try. Okay, so I'm tagging Joanne. Now Joanne's going to get notified that I've tagged her in this. She may, in fact, know somebody who can do that. Okay, now they prefer it be made in America. I know Joanne's in Canada, so that may not work out, but you never know. Okay, Joanne is saying pick away. In the group, it's not scrolling below group rules. Okay, we'll help you with that. Joanne is saying, make sure people know you can only tag people if they're a member of the group. Yes, that is correct. Do you need LinkedIn Pro to access the voice on the app? No. You can do that. You can do that on the app for free. Maureen says, your fire hose reference made me think of Tom Hanks. I made fire. That's about how I'm feeling now. I've got some work to do. How long do you spend on the toilet? Again, not answering that. It seems like you could spend all day on LinkedIn or the toilet, okay? People like the toilet for some reason. Tagging is brilliant. I didn't realize this all the time. Yeah, it is. So this is what I want you to know, folks, is there's a lot. You might think you know LinkedIn, but there's a lot that you don't. Now, one more thing here, and then I want to move into questions here because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So if you have a need, or if you can facilitate a need, I want you to know how to post in the group, okay? And I also want you to gain confidence. If you haven't posted before, if you've never done a post of like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm gonna say or how I should say it, don't worry. Do it in the group, do it here, because then you have an opportunity to engage with friends, okay? This is a community that will support you. So when you want to create a new conversation, simply come over here, or a new post, I should say, come over here and start to think about how you want to communicate with the audience, okay? Typically what I would recommend is do a few revisions of your post. I use something called Hemingway app. It's free. What that does is allows me to write my post. This is my wonderful post. I think it will help everyone. Does it help you? Okay, that's a very simple post. What I want to point out to you is the grade level over here, okay? Many of you are too smart. I said it, okay? Many of you are going to be writing at a 9th, 10th, 12th grade postgraduate level. Unfortunately, or fortunately maybe, most of America, most of the world reads it somewhere between a 2nd to a 4th grade level. That's data, okay? I didn't make that up. So what I would recommend you do is as you sketch out your post, as you draft your post, take it over here into Hemingway and try to get this around 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, okay? Also, not everyone in the group, not everyone on LinkedIn can read and write English the way you or I can, okay? Some people are coming from other parts of the world. So we want to try to get it to a low common denominator. I recommend writing your post here, then copying and pasting it into the post right here, okay? Now, if you have something you can do for someone, or if you need something from someone, please, coming out of this training, take the opportunity to post it there. I'm going to tell you why. Every 2 or 3 days, I look through, my team looks through these posts, and we identify the ones that are in the most need of help or the ones that can help the most, and we're sending this out to about 40,000 people, okay? So we take a curated view of this group here, and we're sending it out to folks throughout the world to raise visibility for that post, okay? So even if you're thinking, shoot, I'll post it and maybe only one person will engage with it, or I have a need and it seems so arcane, I don't think anybody could help me, do it anyways, okay? You never know who might be able to help, and my organization will also help bring awareness to that for you, okay? Brian is saying, what's your take on posts versus articles? Good question. I'll answer that in a second. If you put a post in a group, do you also put the post on your LinkedIn page? Heather, if you're asking about me personally, it's 50-50. Sometimes I do both. Sometimes I just do it here in the group. But if you're asking when you post in the group, does it also appear publicly? No, it's only for people in the group. Let me know if I answered your question there. Joanne is saying image or no image with the post. Joanne, in the context of the group, I have tested both. We have done both. Both can work well. I don't have data from the group perspective around which works better. I would suggest trying both. So that's how you engage with other people's posts. I've scratched the tip of the iceberg, guys and girls, okay? I want to do more, but I also want to be respectful of your time here. So what I think I'm going to do is jump right back into the PowerPoint here. And what I want to do now is take the opportunity to answer your questions, okay? There's been so many questions that have come in. I want to over-deliver value to you here in the training today. So here's how we're going to do the questions. Throw them into the chat or text me. That's my actual cell phone number there. Text me. I'm going to get my cell phone ready here if that's easier for you. And you can always follow up through email, or you can send me a LinkedIn message, of course, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a drink of water here, and then I'm going to start to answer your questions and see what you've got in your mind here. All right, so let's see. Can your profile picture be more casual than just a headshot? Yes, it can. Scott, typically anecdotally, and I believe the data support, I'll find that. I think it's in that checklist document, that the bit more professionally done photos seem to do better, but I wouldn't shy away from testing whatever you have in mind. Go ahead and test it. Ralph is asking, what about adding hashtags? In the context of the group, since the group is closed and private, hashtags, I do see those being used, but they're not as relevant as when you're posting on your public to everybody kind of view. But definitely you should use hashtags when you're posting to the world, absolutely. We can talk more about that in another training. A fellow Canadian from Nova Scotia in the group would like to connect with Joanne. Can you make the connection? Absolutely. So Joanne, why don't you go ahead and, Joanne, take an action for yourself, if you don't mind. Post an introduction to yourself there in the group. And then Kevin, once she does that, you'll see her post in the group and you can connect directly with her. Okay, Joanne, take an opportunity to tell people what you can do for them, how you can help, and let's see if we can make some good, fruitful connections for you. Jeffrey is saying, I know you mentioned invites to another training session, but any comments on using the generic request connection button versus writing a short note? Yeah, Jeffrey, great question. So what Jeffrey's asking is, when you connect with somebody, you have the option of writing a personalized note to them. In the context of the group for what we're talking about today, I would highly recommend that. Send a little note saying, hey, especially if it's something you can help with. Hey, I saw that you posted XYZ and I think I can help. I'm going to send you some more information shortly, okay? Let me check my text message to see what's coming in here. Randy is saying, hey, David, this is Randy. I work as a marketing creative director for 2 companies simultaneously. How do you recommend going about this? Should I make 2 profiles? The companies are sister companies, but one is retail and the other is wholesale. Randy, my personal recommendation would be 1 profile for you as Randy Foster. Hopefully I can mention your name. And then 2 company pages, 1 for each of those companies. But you as the individual, I would recommend that you have 1. Build your asset for your personal profile. And when I say asset, these connections, this network that you're building, this engagement that you build is an asset. You can turn that into cash, into revenue, okay? So build that for your own profile, and then create 2 company pages, 1 for each of those companies. Let me know if that makes sense to you. David, thanks so much. I have another meeting. Please email me the link to the recording. Yep. Marina saying, any recommendations for being mindful about appropriate posts depending on the audience? Not overselling, not wanting to appear unempathetic while still communicating value and service. You get the gist. Yeah. So Maureen, especially now during this unprecedented time, if you will, that's a question we get quite a bit. I would suggest that you should be very mindful of your audience, but you should also not let that hold you back from testing and experimenting with new things, new ways of communicating in your posts or in your messages, okay? because you'll often be surprised by what works, and what you think works may not, in fact, do anything. So don't let that hold you back, but at the same time, yeah, be mindful. Highly recommend that. How do I get into more groups, pertinence, or should I create one? This is from Kyle. So Kyle, you can search for groups in the upper, I'll come back here. You can search for groups up here when you're on the search page. You can search for those there, and then you'll be able to find groups that might be more salient or relevant to what you're looking for. Let me see, I just lost my little chat window. Okay, here it is again. Perfect. So that's where I would suggest you go, Kyle. Yeah, creating your own group, also not a bad idea, but we can make that part of another training session. Can I let everyone in this group know that I make face shields? I have pictures. Yes, Carlos. Yes, yes, yes. So for two reasons. One, I want to encourage all of you to let the world know what you can do, okay? As I mentioned, LinkedIn is blessing all of us with tremendous reach right now. Take advantage of that, Carlos, especially now. Second, we have healthcare professionals, we have hospitals, we have nursing homes, we have senior care facilities that are joining this group. We have 3D printers, we have media, we have all sorts of people that are in this group that would benefit from knowing what you can do to help. So yes, Carlos, please do. Dana saying, this is great, thank you for all you've done. Dana, I appreciate that comment very much. Gary Scott is saying, should I post my ads inside of the group? Gary, let me know what you mean by ads. Would love to hear more about that. Julia is saying, are there suggestions regarding posting in a manner that doesn't look too much like an advertisement, specifically outside of the COVID-19 group? Yeah, Julia, I think we're going to run out of time for doing all of that. I may do another training session next Thursday on how you can use content in a very specific way to do that in LinkedIn and other channels. If you would like to know more about that, drop the word secrets into the chat and we'll get that to all of you. I'm thinking about doing that next Thursday, Julie. That might help. Thanks for your time. Best webinar on LinkedIn I've ever seen. Well, thank you, Grant. Maureen is saying the initial part of your presentation referenced video in your profile, but I don't recall a comment. Can you provide some insight there? You know, I'm not sure. Let me see if I get this right here. Who asked that question? Maureen. Maureen, what I was referring to is this section here. You can embed videos into this section. We didn't talk too much about it, but if you have a product, if you have a service, if you have a view of the world or a point of view where video would be useful to your audience, this is a section where you can actually upload those and feature those. So let me know if I think I answered your question there. Jim is saying, what does it mean when you get a reply not connected? Oh, that's John, actually. John, can you clarify what you mean by there? Carlos is saying we are plastic printers and have the ability to produce these face shields in New Jersey and not in China. Very much needed right now. Let's see. Do you recommend joining other groups within industry serve? Yes, Steve, absolutely. This is just one of many groups. I absolutely recommend you join other groups. Rajnish is saying, I have multiple verticals of business. You suggest 2 profiles. Again, Rajnish, for you as an individual, I recommend you have the one. And then if you really have businesses that are distinctly different, I would recommend 2 or more company pages for that. But I would recommend you be one. Let's see, probably a dumb question, but do people you ask to connect with expect this to be a business relationship or sales call? Peter, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but I can tell you that I get a lot of strange requests through LinkedIn. So they're not all business related. I don't expect them to be sales pitches. In fact, when they are sales pitches, I get turned off. Again, just me personally. I'm looking for relationships that may turn into opportunities. By and large, though, most people are open to connecting. You certainly will have people who don't want to, but hey, that's okay. But clarify if I got your question there right, Peter. I want to make sure I'm giving you value. Let's see. This was good. This was good. Send me the secrets. Explain DM, please. Okay, so when I say DM, what I mean is this. And who asked that? Let's see, Alan. Okay, so Alan, what I'm talking about is here. If you go to messaging, you see here on the screen, you guys can all read what Marie said here. This is a direct message or a private message between me and Anne Marie, which happens to be now public to all of you. What is she saying? Hope you enjoyed the funny video. Great webinar this morning. Are you open to being a guest speaker on a webinar series for a printer that's currently not using MindFire? It would be for the printer's clients. I've been asked to create ideas for a client-facing series, and of course, you were top of mind. Okay, so while of course that is flattering and not planned at all, this, guys and girls, if you're still here with me, 14 minutes past the hour, this is what LinkedIn can bring to you, okay? This, by putting yourself out there as thought leaders, by providing value everywhere you can, by giving of yourself, by publicly giving out your cell phone number, this is what will happen, okay? You will get interview requests, you will get job requests, you will get people asking you for RFPs, people want you to be guest speakers, people will ask you to write for them. All sorts of incredible things will happen. Partnership requests, investment requests, dating requests, whatever it is that you want, you can get through LinkedIn. Don't think of it as just for job hunters or just for job seekers, okay? This has transformed over the past few years into something quite remarkable. And now Anne Marie is saying, well, now you have to say yes. So Anne Marie, you are live and everyone can see that. I assume you know that. So to answer your question, Anne Marie, absolutely. I'd be happy to be a guest speaker on your webinar series. I don't mind at all if they're not using MindFire. In fact, that's even better. I love that. And I appreciate you thinking of us and saying that we're top of mind for you. So absolutely happy to do that. Back to the question, Alan, that you asked. What is a DM? This is what we're talking about here, this messaging here. So Alan, assuming we're connected, I'm going to show you here real quick. Alan, I hope it's okay to use your full name here. There you are. Perfect. So you're president of Greenway Print Solutions. Awesome. So Alan, this is a direct message. Hope you found value in today's session. Now, that's another little interesting thing that I do there, folks. You know, when you converse with people, you can make a statement or you can try to start a conversation. Asking a little question like that with a question mark at the end serves to continue to engage Alan in subsequent conversation, okay? You want to foster conversations with people and asking them a question. You know, if I went with a straight sales pitch and said, hey, Alan, why don't you sign up for my new course on how to build Ferraris, you know? He's probably gonna say, no, I don't have time for you. But if you engage him in something meaningful and ask a question, people will typically reply back. Now, I know that I'm going way past our time here. I appreciate you being here. Let me see what other questions we have here. I would love to be part of this learning. How do we advertise our business? Yeah, this will be, Jason's asking that. I'll try to do another session next Thursday, probably give us more time to get into some really unique ways that you can use LinkedIn as a content publisher, producer, without actually having to create your own content. I know it sounds strange, and use that to generate more leads for your business, okay? So I'll try to do that next Thursday. Let's see. Jason is saying, I second the thank you. I've seen your name for years, and now I'm so bummed we didn't connect before. You're amazing and really know your business. See, guys and girls, I'm not asking you to say this about us or me, but it's because that we've poured into you as a community that you feel so strongly about me. Jason, we don't know each other. For all you know, I could be a jerk. I'm not, right? But for all you know, you've seen me online or emails or somewhere, right? And I've been able to communicate to you in a way that has engendered a positive feeling in you. And that's, men and women, the power, one of the many powerful aspects of LinkedIn, getting that message out there. Don't leave it behind just because you think it's not going to work for you, or you don't have the time to do it, or because it's only for people looking for jobs, okay? This can do so much more for you. Time to make some money. Good, John, absolutely. Brian is saying excellent content. Good, good, good. There's so many comments here, folks. I'm just scanning to see where the questions are. Danny Vargo is saying, thanks so much for this, David. Everything marketing is ready to print millions and millions of postcards and much more. Yeah, Danny, huge opportunity with postcards. You know, as we come out of this thing, you need to come up with a recession buster idea or some sort of, business restart kit or something that people can do with postcards to get traffic flowing back into restaurants, retail locations, into their business. There's so many opportunities there with postcards. I love it. Kyle saying, can you send a recording? Yes. This is great. Peter saying, Dave is definitely not a jerk, just the opposite and very helpful. Thank you, Peter. Great job today. Bushra is saying, how do you do LinkedIn Live? So Bushra, you have to apply for that, and they're giving that out to only a few people. So it's through an application process. If you Google that, you'll get the link where you can sign up and apply for that. Heather is saying, once you get to be proficient, how long do you spend a day? Let me tell you what we do. So I probably spend an hour each day, and I work about 12 to 13 hours a day. I'm not saying that to brag. That could be less, that could be more than you. I just happen to love serving people and the blessing that we have to do the work that we do. So about an hour of that is actual hand-to-hand interaction in LinkedIn. But because it generates so much inflow of activity, there are two others on the team that help here with the messages here. There's a whole technique and tactic we use for that to loop people in to be able to carry on conversations that scale beyond me, okay? So I spend about an hour, but then there are other people that also do the same. Some weeks, some days, some months, I spend a lot more depending on what's going on, okay? Let's see, what do you think of Sales Navigator? Very helpful, very useful, very powerful. Heather is saying, is there a best time of day to do it? You know, again, from personal experience, I try everything. Weekends are very good for engagement. Weekends are very good for conversations with other business owners and decision makers, especially if you get on one of those voice chats with somebody. I've had some incredible conversations on weekends. You know, depending on what part of the country you serve, what part of the world you serve, you know, business is transacting 24/7. So try different things, see what works for you. Thank you very much. Please send the recording so I can watch from the beginning. I'm sorry I was not able to click in until very late in the Zoom. No problem, Sean. Carly is saying, thanks, got to run, much appreciated. Okay, no problem, folks. There's still a lot of you here. And so I want to answer all of your questions and get you everything that you need. What I want to know before you drop off, if you have to run, was this valuable to you, and what stood out the most? What was it that was most helpful to you here in this training, and did I deliver value to you? That's been my goal here. So please go over to the chat and let me know that. Hank is saying, will you be emailing the checklist and the recording to everyone? Yes, Hank, absolutely, I will do that. Alan is saying it's excellent. Alan, what stood out the most to you? What was kind of like the aha moment, if you can think of something? Jen saying very helpful. Randy is saying, give me the secrets. Heather saying very valuable. Jason saying very valuable. The checklist looks amazing. Can't wait to get it. Sabine is saying great insights. Not that I expect anything else from you. Please send a copy of the recording. Super helpful. Also enjoyed learning about Hemingway. Wow, guys and girls, you're really making my day here. Hopefully I've been able to deliver value to you. Coming out of this, what would be useful to you? I've mentioned that I'm thinking about doing a 2-hour session next Thursday around kind of this weird content model that you can utilize. I'm also thinking about, and again, so Mindfire, we're not a training company per se, but training is very, very important. And the reason why it's important is because as sales and marketing people, as executives, learning to use the latest technology to reach your customers and prospects is essential. And so we're investing a lot, I'm investing a lot as an organization to help you understand how to use what we call omni-channel communication strategies, meaning the best channel, the optimal channel to reach your customer and prospect. It may be different for Joanne and Dave interacting with one another than it is for me and Carlos over here in the chat, right? So omni-channel is very important. LinkedIn happens to be an optimal channel right now that's very hot, where the attention is underpriced for the cost. You've seen how you can get an enormous reach for free, okay? So the reason I bring that up is I want to know what would be helpful for you coming out of this. One-on-one coaching, a done-for-you service where the Mindfire agency team maybe runs LinkedIn for you, additional training like this, or something else. I want to know what other tools, what other services could we enable you with that would help you reach your customers and prospects and help you reach your goals. David saying, or Alika, David, this was of utmost value, great takeaways, specifically the tag factor. This was something I wasn't aware of, definitely interested in next week's session. And anything you talk about, super relevant to communicating with today's market. Thank you for the connection and more, okay? Jason is saying, maybe it's time to talk to Mindfire for Greenlay print solutions. Julie's saying, very helpful. I'm a social media novice, and even some of the more basic tips were very helpful. Danny is saying, how do I make the best of LinkedIn? This was very helpful. Penny is saying, I would like additional training on all social media. Okay. Kevin's saying, please include me in future sessions. Michael Kravitz is saying, super helpful. What's the best way to get free value out of LinkedIn? Turning off people also viewed was helpful to him. Yeah, huge tip for many there. Alan is saying, are there any services around who can help design our page? Yes, we can help you with that, or I can connect you with folks that can help. You know, there are numerous ways that we can help you, men and women, utilize LinkedIn. Again, this is not a sales pitch. I'm not selling you anything right now. I'm just trying to help. So tell me what would be most useful to you based on what you've seen, whether that be maybe you want to create your own group for your own industry. Maybe you want to learn how to do what's called community management. That's the term for what it is we do in LinkedIn to foster engagement that yields conversations and leads, okay? So love to know what we can do to help. Ralph is saying, excellent presentation, a few great ideas to run with. Looking forward to see how to cross-market to all social media platforms. Rajnish says, I feel conversion on LinkedIn is slow. I know it's a long-term model. I've been benefited in the past, thus I believe in it. You know, we have some, and again, the goal here, as I say this to all of you, with this LinkedIn group, the goal was not for Mindfire to profit, okay? But when we engage with folks in this group, some of them have turned into clients. And Rajnish, some of those turned into clients within a day or two, okay? So while you say you feel it's slow, I want to encourage you. I want to give you hope that it's not always the case. That maybe once you learn how to use these tools and some of the things that we haven't talked about today that are going to really unlock this for you, you could start to see more results. Anne Marie Keene is saying, yes, I'm interested in community management. So community management, again, for those of you who haven't heard that term, or maybe even if you have, we use that to mean the whole process of how you approach LinkedIn. We can run that as a service for you. It can be quite extensive and produce some amazing results when done correctly. So we can train you on it, which is like kind of like today's session is a small piece of that, but or run it as a service. So thanks, David. You're a rock star, man. Thank you. You're really the rock star. I appreciate that. All right, guys and girls, since I am working from home, I don't know if you can hear some of my kids yelling, and I know other people are using the internet here in the house. So I will stick around as long as you want me to, but I want to be respectful of your time. And also, I apologize for any sounds that you're hearing coming in from the background there. What other questions do you have? I'm going to hang for a few moments. Let me know what other questions you have. Yes, we will send out the recording. Yes, we will send out the video. Yes, we'll send out the checklist. I'm seeing that. Yes, we will follow up if you want community management. Sure, not a problem. Okay, I'm going to give you guys another 30 seconds. Again, let me put my contact information here on the screen. Okay, I'm going to put that slide back up here. Here we go. All right. So let's see what we got here. The recording you send, can we forward it to others? Yes, absolutely. Brian, what about my article versus post question? Yeah, Brian, you know, from personal experience, there have been articles that have done really well in terms of engagement. If you don't know what Brian's asking, so LinkedIn has a feature that allows you to write content that sits natively inside of LinkedIn. It's kind of like being able to publish a blog on LinkedIn without the viewer having to leave LinkedIn. So for us, it has worked very well. But there are people who say that it doesn't seem to do very well for them. I suspect in those cases, it has to do more with the content, with the headline of that article and the subject matter than it does to do with what people seem to feel, which is that LinkedIn isn't sending traffic to those articles anymore. I don't have any data to support that. That's just a hunch based on what I see. When you do a post, however, Brian, and we do have data to support this, if you do a post and you put a link to a piece of content off of LinkedIn, that generally doesn't do as well as if you write a post without a link in the body of the post, and instead say something like the link is in the first comment, or drop a yes if you want the link to this article. Because what happens there then is that LinkedIn sees your post and is saying, oh, okay, Brian's not sending people off of LinkedIn, which they don't want. They want people to stay inside of LinkedIn. And by getting people to look in the comments or to drop a yes, you're driving engagement for your posts, which tends to make it be seen, therefore, by others. Okay? That's my perspective. Let's see. I look forward to the next training. Thank you very much. Okay, very cool. All right, guys and girls, we've gone 30 minutes past our time. Here is my information. That's my cell phone number. Feel free to text me. Feel free to follow up through email. And of course, let's connect on LinkedIn. And I look forward to seeing everybody soon. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. I do want to leave you with the encouragement that we will make it through this time that we're in right now. Stay strong. The way I see the world and the way I would invite you in to see it with me is that we're all on one team right now. There are some of you on the phone here who are competitors, I know, but if we can work together, we must work together. Let me put it that way, in order to fight this crisis, to fight this virus. And by doing so, we will be stronger for it as we come through this. All right, boys and girls, have a great rest of the day. See you soon.